Hello. Hello, guys. Am I audible? So, welcome to Cyber Student. So, today's live is on how cybersecurity can prevent terrorist attacks. So, we briefly explain cybersecurity and its importance. So, into the session, a small disclaimer. The video presents a hypothetical scenario to give an example on the cyber terrorism, how cyber terrorism is going on and how it is using the cyberspace. And the purpose of the video is to raise the awareness in the cybersecurity aspirants, like students who are interested in the cybersecurity. So, going into the video, hello. So, I am cyber student. As we delve into the critical topic, the digital age has become a double-edged sword. While it offers an incredible advancement, it also becomes a breeding ground for terrorist activities. So, in today's daily life, the cybersecurity is a raising a role, and every coin has a two faces, as a dark and the good. So, we have seen the good side of the cybersecurity, and the dark side is used by the cyber crime, the hackers, the black hat hackers, and also this cyber terrorism used this cyberspace of the black side. So coming to the next, the agenda overview. So in this live, we're gonna what we will discuss in this live as the first one is the introduction to this topic, and next is the cyber terrorism. What is cyber terrorism? Is we know that cyber crime is different. How cybercrime is different from the cyber terrorism, and what these both are differ from which point aspect. And the three is how terrorists use this cyberspace, and the preventions. The preventions are categorized into two, as a individual and the other, the cyber security professional. And the five is creating a scenario. As we uh, talked recently that the scenario is based on example, as there are violence, and the community guidelines will be against to this live. So we are going to discuss a frame a scenario on how the cyberspace is used by the terrorists. So the next six is the real sources. We are mentioning that four real cases. So that is the sixth, and the seventh is the job roles. So the job roles on the cyber defense. So how to defend the cyber rules on defending the cyber terrorism. So we'll discuss the top five, and the next last is the conclusion and the question and answers. So coming to the introduction. So today the whole world is moving in the age of technology. Uh, so the internet has become an integral part. And from the banking to the education and shopping to the social connections, we depend on all the services. So as we see the uh, daily the 5 year child and the 60-year-old man is using the internet as a daily purpose as we eat food or we breathe. The internet is one of the source the man is living on the earth. So cybersecurity is also going top as a role. So cybersecurity is a method to protect our digital information. So we use in various forms for banking, and uh, the we post the insights of us as we go everywhere. We post the things on the internet, Instagram, Twitter, and the Facebook, whatever. So we are unknowingly we are using our personal data and we are exposing to the different types of applications and apps. So unfortunately, terrorist activities are increasing worldwide and using these resources as we use. During this time, it is very important to know about our digital security. So now let's learn how cybersecurity can prevent terrorist attacks. So this is the introduction, and we move on to the what is cyber terrorism. I mean, as we recently discussed that how cybercrime and cyber terrorism are differ. So cyber terrorism is different from normal cyber attacks. As we see, there are hackers, there are types of hackers. So you have an idea like why they are differ. So why they are categorized as a white, black, red, purple, like what? So the motives and the threat vectors are the different to each other. So the motives means the goal, and the threat vectors means the way of approaching. So it makes different to the cyber terrorism and the cyber crime. So the motivation is of the cyber terrorism is spreading fear among the citizens or whatever the motive is and achieving the political goals, and we are seeing the events in our daily life, so how the terrorism is growing up in the nations worldwide, and the target is the critical infrastructure and the government institutions or the public at large areas like they target the cities like a large cities where the crowd is more like at hotels or markets. And as a we simple understand by the example like a bank. So cyber crime is like a bank robbery. They thief steals money for personal gain, and the cyber terrorism is like bombing a bank. The goal is not stealing money, but also creating a fear and financial systems, disturbing the financial disturbance. So this is the simple understanding of the cyber terrorism. So moving up to the next step. So how terrorists use cyberspace. So we are categorized into the four things. So we are categorized as terrorists have found cyberspace to a valuable tool for their activities. So here is a breakdown how they exploit the digital world. So moving to the communication, we have the number one is the communication, and then number two is the funding, and number three is the propaganda. So what is mean by propaganda? Propaganda means influential the people, and the number four is the planning and targeting. So we have there are subtopics in these parts. So messaging apps, social media. So this is communication is comes, and the next is the preventions. So what is a communication? So communication is categorized into two messaging apps, social media. So communication, the apps allow secure communications between terrorists, makes it difficult for authorities to encrypt messages. Platforms like Telegram or Signal can be used for planning attacks, coordinating logistics, and even radicalizing new recruits. So they use the communication. the message encrypted message apps for the recruitments and all the communication purpose, and the social media. Then the dark web. The dark web is used while mainstream platforms have gotten better at identifying and removing content. So the open the open web so the open web, we see the dark web is differ. So the open sources can be seen by the government officials or the any of one, but the dark website is the illegal one. So they use the this for the purpose of terrestrial activities. While mainstream is a this is the platform, the dark web, a hidden part of internet, offers a haven for terrorists to spread propaganda, share tactics, and recruit. So this is the what communication. So number two is the funding. So funding is categorized into two, online and the online funding and the financial fraud. So there are two ways how they gain the money. One is the funding. As we see, there are a lot of news that some other nations are funding to the cyber like the organizations. So I don't want to mention the names of the organizations. So, well, we'll continue with the flow. So, the online funding is a like terrorist organizations may exploit online platforms to raise funds for their activities. This can involve crowdfunding campaigns as charitable and or even using cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin for anonymous transactions. So, like this, they use the modern technology, the modern bitcoins. So this is how the cyberspace is using by the terrorist organizations. And the next is the financial fraud. So cyber attacks on banks or financial institutions can be a source of income for terrorist groups. They might steal money directly or use stolen financial information to fund operations. So as we know, the cyber attacks, there are different types of cyber attacks, and the organizations also use the cyber attacks they steal the information or they steal the database and they lock and they demand the money for the organizations to release the data. So this makes them many. And the next is the third one is the propaganda. So as you know, the propaganda is like a publishing or spreading the motive. So coming to the online, the social media. So the social media is like terrorist organizations leverage social media platforms to spread their ideology and messages. They utilize videos, graphics, and manipulate content to the violence, recruit followers, and inspire lone wolf attackers. So as we see, the social media is a growing platform, and all the citizens or all the youth are being on the online and using the internet. So they're brainwashing or something. They use the tactics. The psychology is the the best terminology to use this. The psychology plays a main role here, and the online publications, websites, and online magazines can be used to publish this content, glorify violence, and provide instructions on bomb making or other attack methods. So here is that how they spread the attacks on being at one place. And coming to the next, the four is the planning and the targeting. So planning and targeting is categorized into again two as a vulnerability research and information gathering. So vulnerability research, what is it mean? Vulnerability means the system, the threat that which leads to threat is the vulnerability. So the terrorist may target critical infrastructure such as the power grids or transportation systems by researching vulnerabilities in the cultural systems. So as I told that vulnerability leads to the threat. So they see the vulnerabilities in the systems of the organizations. So they exploit that small vulnerabilities and they make a way to the other plans. They extend the spread. And next, information gathering. The terrorist can use online resources like social media or public databases to gather information about potential targets, such as security protocols, layouts of buildings, or routines of individuals. So this is how the information gathering. So it's also important to note that cyber terrorism, which involves attacks on critical infrastructure, and this cause widespread harm. So this is a growing concern. By understanding how terrorists use cyberspace, we can develop better strategies to prevent them from exploiting these vulnerabilities. So this is how the four are categorized, and these are the cyberspace how the terrorists used. And coming to the preventions. So what are the precautions or in an individual or the cyber professional? So we can prevent cyber terrorism through a multi-layered approach that involves individuals, governments, and tech companies working together. Here are some key strategies. And as we told that recently, we are categorized into two: individual level and the cybersecurity professional. So the individual level. So there are four: be cautious and practice good hygienic, stay informed, reporting suspicious activity. So the individual level, so don't click on a suspicious links or data or download on unknown files. And phishing emails can be a gateway, and that could infiltrate your device, potentially become part of larger attack. So this is the best caution. And next, practice good password hygienic. So as we recently discussed in the videos or the lives, we told that two-factor authentication is a good one to use and avoid. This adds an extra layer of security to prevent part of a larger attack. So stay informed. The cyber awareness is the key role that plays in every aspect. So keep your software and operation systems updated with the latest security patches. This helps close vulnerabilities that cyber attacks might exploit. So the final one is the report suspicious activities. If you encounter a content or an online activity that may seem so suspicious, so report it to the platform or relevant authorities. So we can see the number of websites or the organizations which are government. We can file a complaint against the content. So as a cyber professional, you and me have a critical role in preventing cyber terrorism. Here are some strategies we can have. So there are network security. The number one is the network security, and the next is vulnerability management and the data encryption access controls. So as a cyber professional, we should discuss this and we should have an knowledge and we should skill up in these sectors. So network security is the main, and we should implement the network security measures like firewalls and also detection like monitoring and preventing systems and segmentations to identify and block suspicious activity. So this is a fundamental thing we should do as a this role is also there like instant response. And the next is a vulnerability management. Regularly scan systems and applications for vulnerabilities and patch them properly. So again, prioritize vulnerabilities that could be exploited by terrorists for maximum impact. So not only terrorists, we should be regularly check up the connections and the servers. As a cybersecurity professional, it is a job. So the next is a data encryption. So data encryption is a method that uses the both dark side and the government also. So data encryption is a key role. So encryption sensitive data both at rest, both at rest and transit transaction goes on, and this makes much harder for terrorists to steal or exploit confidential information, even if they breach your systems. So like having a secondary database or having encrypted files makes you reliable. And also next, the final is the access control. So access is the main as either good or bad that decides the axis. Axis control decides the whatever it happens, like implementing strong access controls that limit access to systems and data only to thus who need it. Utilize multi-factor authentication (MFA) to add an extra layer of security. So this is how we use, and there are user awareness and training programs we should conduct as a cyber professionals. The organizations or the authorities use this kind of awareness training programs and camps like phishing awareness training. So the trainers employees to identify the and avoid phishing emails and the cybersecurity best practices and a security culture, like a culture of security within your organization. Encourage employees uh, to know and skill up the knowledge about this regular the latest news, so they may avoid these phishing emails. So not only a cybersecurity professional should learn about this kind of tactics, a general ordinary person should know, have the awareness on the cybersecurity. So as to protect the kingdom, as we have the online kingdom, the key is the password. The key is the password to our online kingdom. So next, threat intelligence monitoring. So like we also should be strengthened in threat intelligence and monitoring and stay informed. Security monitoring also we should know the security monitoring, like continuous monitor your network and systems for suspicious activities that might indicate something threats or vulnerabilities that a potential cyber attack can cause, and tools like security information and event management SIEM, and this can be valuable in the regard. And next is the instant response planning. So this is we have to develop a comprehensive incident response plan, outlining steps to take in a case of cyber attack. This includes identifying key personnel and communication protocols and data recovery procedures. And next is a collaboration and information share. So information, these all should be holded by the government agencies and the industrial players and the public awareness. So remember that defense is defense in depth. There is no single solution that can be completely prevent the cyber attacks. So implement a layered defense approach that combines technological and solutions with user awareness and best practices, and continuously improvement cybersecurity in as an ongoing process. Regularly assess your security posture, identify vulnerabilities, and adapt your strategies to stay ahead for evolving threats. So these are the what we explained now is about for the cyber professional. So what are the like we have discussed the strengthening defenses and user awareness training, threat intelligence and monitoring, and collaboration and information sharing. So these are the content for the cyber professional. As a you and me as a cyber professional, we should do and we should be knowledgeable in these aspects. And coming to the example, as we recently discussed in the first slide, as we have a scenario which is based on the assumption imagination. So the example is the scenario is a terrorist group plots a bomb attack on a massive bridge, aiming for maximum diversion. So here is a breakdown as a phases. So I have divided this example as a four phases. So the phase one is a terrorists, and the phase two is the victims, and the phase three is the cyber defense. And this technique used in this example, like in this how the that exploration or something, how it happens, what the techniques used. So we are going in this roadmap, like what are the terrorist phases, so how the motives or the what is the action like terrorists do and the victims, what are the face, what they face, and what cyber defense does, and what are the techniques used in this. Like terrorists use we'll discuss on the digital footprints and cyber attacks, and the phase two victims, like we discuss on the how they disinformation and how they explode. And next phase three is the cyber defense and what are the measures the cybersecurity takes and the law enforcement response. And we go will be going to the phase one, the terrorist phase, digital footprints. Like the we are going to start with the three: social engineering, network intrusion, data exploration. So cyber attacks, social engineering, and network and the data exfiltration. So the groups use phishing emails or fake social media profiles to target engineers, bridge engineers, or officials, tricking them into revealing sensitive information about bridge structure of security protocols network. So this is how they use. So before the terrorist phase, they use the like information gathering because the print of the bridge should be known for the organizations to plan such a thing. And next, the second thing is the network. So hackers attempt to infiltrate the bridge control systems so they gain access to the operational data. So this disrupt traffic flow before the attack, causing confusion. So this is how the second step they take. And the third step by them is the data exfiltration. So they may steal blueprints, traffic patterns, or security camera footage to plan the attack and potential escape routes. So this is how the phase one is going to end. And the phase two is the victim's phase, the panic and the disruption. So these are categorized into like aftermath and the cyber disinformation. So the bomb explodes, causing widespread disturbance and casualties. So this is the aftermath, like a bridge explosion. So that happens in this phase two, and the cyber disinformation. So what is the cyber disinformation? The group spreads fake news and graphic content on social media to show off service attacks and overloading their communication systems. So in this phase two, the terrorists do like this panic attacks for the people who are in the place or the casual people, ordinary men. And the next, the phase three, we are going to the cyber defense phase, countering the threat. So as a cyber defense, what are the consequences and what are the response we take as we have cyber security measures like multi-factor authentication, means adding an extra layer of security beyond passwords to prevent unauthorized access to critical systems. So this phase three is like what are the measures we should be taken as the bridge the bridge blueprints or the organization's uh, systems data is accessed by the hackers. So how to prevent them is a cybersecurity measure we are discussing. And then the second one is the network segmentation, like it creating isolated networks for the different bridge functions. and to minimize the impact of the potential breach. And the next, the regular security audits means like identifying the patches, vulnerabilities in a breach control systems to prevent the hacking attempts. So as recently we discussed these vulnerabilities, we should not ignore the vulnerabilities. And the last final is a social engineering awareness training. So here in the phase two, we have seen that disinformation and the uh, exploration of the people in this case. So we have to maintain. So we have to awareness the people. So this is how the cyber security measures will be taken as a cyber defense should maintain the awareness training programs and the camps. And what about the law enforcement response? So law enforcement is like a two categorized and the online monitoring and the cyber forensics. So online monitoring means we can understand the authorities can monitor social media platforms for suspicious activities and identify threats before they explode. So like these are the measures what cyber defense would be taken before the attack. Okay, and what are the like cyber forensics? What forensics is means analyze the digital evidence. So this is a forensics is the post attack. So this is the role behind the attack. After attack, it takes the information and it provides to the court as a law information enforcement response. So analyze digital evidence from the group's online activity to track their movements, funding sources, and communication channels, leading to potential arrests. So this is the measures would be taken to the uh, attack by by the government, and we have seen the third phase also. And like we are going moving to the final phase is the techniques used. So as we discussed in the first technique, how they have gained the access into the networks and the blueprints, how they access this all information, like the techniques used like phishing emails. So as we know, the phishing is a major problem, and we have fake social media profiles for social engineering attacks. So this is how the phishing is used. And the next second one is the network attempts to breach control systems. And the third is the data exfiltration to steal sensitive information about the breach. And next is the denial of service attacks. This is the common and the popular known attack, and these attempts to the disrupt emergency response communication. And the final is the spreading disinformation and graphic content on social media to create panic. So this is the motto, as we discussed recently. The motto of the cyber terrorism is a fear, creating a fear. So they create the graphics that on the social media to create panic. So preventative measures like we should have the educational camps, as we recently discussed, educate people on identifying the phishing emails and suspicious online activity, and also promote the use of strong passwords and two-factor authentication. Encourage people to report suspicious online activity to the authorities. So the main thing is the education, the awareness on the cybersecurity. Like today we have engaged with this live. So these are the sessions and live which makes a common man awareness about the cyber attacks, cyber threats, as we seeing the news every day, where there are various attacks, cyber crimes, and terrorism is created on the internet. So we have seen the four phases. We have completed the four phases. So next, coming to the preventions. So what are the preventions we should be taken? So the preventions, as we discuss, they educate people, promote the strong passwords, and they encourage people. So we have real incidents. The one is the cyber attack 2017. So this is a malware spread through phishing emails, caused a widespread disruption attack. So this is across Ukraine, uh, gripping critical infrastructure like power grids and financial institute, institute. And this attack is believed to be a Russian state-sponsored operation. So we have a disclaimer. So this is a real incident, but we are discussing in the point of the awareness of cybersecurity and the attacks on by the terrorism activists. So the next is the cyber attack on the French TV network TV5, 2015. So this attack highlighted the vulnerability of media infrastructure to the cyber terrorism. So this is the cyber attack on the vulnerability. So as we discussed, how vulnerability leads to the threat. So this is how the vulnerability lead to the top two attack on the cyber French, French TV network. And the number three is the ransomware attack 2017. So this is a global ransomware attack believed to be by North Korean hackers that hundreds of thousands of computers worldwide, causing disruptions in healthcare, transportation, and other critical sectors. So this is a news article from the Guardian I have collected, and then the fourth one is a pipeline ransom ransomware attack, and this is on 2021, a criminal hacking group and targeted the Conical Pipeline, a major fuel pipeline in the United States, causing fuel shortages and economic disruptions. This incident highlights the potential cyber attacks have to cause the real world physical harm. So this is how the we have collected from the news article, the New York Times Colonial Pipeline hack raises concerns about the ransomware breach. And coming to the interesting thing, the job roles. What are the top five job roles? So as we are going to the cyber professional field, so what are the job roles in this? As we interest in the against the cyber attacks and the cyber terrorism, so we wanted to be part of the cyber defense. So the number five is a intelligence analyst. So what is an intelligence analyst? So these are the analysts who gather and analyze and uh, disseminate intelligence related to the cyber threats. So including from the from the terrorist organizations. These actively monitor terrorist online and activities, predict potential cyber threats. So intelligence analyst means, as we know that the terminology explains the intelligence means predicting the future attacks. So this is the one of the, and the next is the digital forensics. So as we talked recently that forensics is a post method. So where the forensic officers would be collecting the information and the footprints of the organizations or the victims and to provide the case to the courts. So the digital forensic officer investigator for a following a cyber attack, especially one suspected to be linked to terrorism, these investigations plays a vital role in recovering and analyzing digital evidence. So they identify the uh, perspectives and also gather evidence for legal proceedings and use digital forensic techniques to trace the origin of the attack and uncover the potential terrorism involvement. So this is how the digital forensic investigator plays a crucial role in the post attack. So the next is the penetration tester. So we can call him like a ethical hacker. He is a white hacker, plays a crucial role for testing vulnerabilities. So these individuals act as ethical hackers. Na? So These they attack computer systems with permissions to identify weakness that could be exploited by terrorists before only or other malicious actors. So these ethical hackers design and execute the penetration testings scenarios to access the security posture of a critical infrastructure. So providing recommendations to strengthen. So they provide information like this is the vulnerability you have for this organization. So please patch up these vulnerabilities. So this is how the ethical hacker plays a role in the cyber defense. So the number two is a cybersecurity analyst. So analyst, these analysts are the frontline defense, the border security force. So continuously monitoring security data. So identify threats, vulnerabilities, and the potential cyber attacks. This research emerging cyber threats used by terrorists and develop security measures, especially to protect critical infrastructure from such attacks. They also track suspicious activity that could be linked to potential cyber terrorism attempts. So this is how cybersecurity analysts will help the organizations. And the next top one is the incident response specialist. So the term refers to the incident response. So responding incidentally. So these are the specialists are the first responders in this case of the cyber attack, like including the, with suspected terrorist motives. So they lead the group like eradication and recovery efforts, analyzing evidence to determine the source and scope of the attack, and collaborating with law enforcement during investigations. So this is how the top five job roles engage with the cyber terrorism attack. And the next is the conclusion. So conclusion is like we have discussed in this session. So we have gone through the introduction, like what is the cyber terrorism, and like the what how the cyberspace is used by the terrorists, like they use for the communication, funding purposes, and the propaganda to spread the information and the planning and targeting, like information gathering we have discussed, and the preventions. What are the we have discussed the preventions like for the individual and the as you and me as a cyber professionals growing into the future. So what are the preventions we have to take? As individual, be cautious online and practice good password hygienic and stay informed and report the suspicious activities if you find in the online media. And coming to the cyber professional, we should be strengthened in defenses like user awareness. We have to create awareness programs like this, and we have to be developed in threat intelligence and monitoring, and we have to collaborate and information sharing. So we have to be educate the people, and also we have to skill up in this sector. So we have also discussed a scenario, the bridge attack scenario, a multi-phase threat with the cyber warfare. So this is the example we have discussed. A scenario, a threat, a terrorist group plans a bomb attack on a major bridge. And we also discussed the what techniques they use, and we have discussed the three phases, terrorists and the victims and the cyber defenses. And also we have uh, discussed about the prevention measures, and we have discussed next the real sources. We have discussed the top four real sources from the famous news articles. So they are verified, and we have next we have went to the slide the job roles, the top five job roles involved in these. So defending these attacks, we have gone through the top five job roles. The number one is the incident response and specialist, and next cyber security analyst and penetration tester, so-called ethical hacker, and the number four is digital forensic investigator and intelligent analyst. So these are the top five we have discussed in this. session for this. And this is the session on how we should prevent the cyber attacks, the cyber terrorism attacks as a common man or a cyber professional. And we have like this a lot of sessions on the daily basis, like upcoming webinars or lives. We will be engaging with the real-time scenarios and we'll be assumption like imagining the scenarios and we'll be going through the cybersecurity field. And this is the path where we together grow in this sector and we will give entry into the cyber security field. So that is the information this session closes. And I wanted to request that you can share this and get awareness for the your friends and your community. And this is the session close up. And do support for more sessions. And in this channel we have we are planning to upload the podcasts in English and also Telugu. Like we are planning we are uploading schedule is like daily uploads, and we have challenges like 30 days challenge, which engages with the enhance your skills and the knowledge in cybersecurity. And there is also like a series coming like a cybersecurity like a CompTIA, which covers the sessions like a CompTIA. And we have the news bites of cybersecurity, and we will be discussing about the top at cyber attacks and the ongoing cyber attacks, and also the update instant updates. And we stay tuned. If you like this content, uh, be follow and stay tuned.